You know what? I'm going to take this. We are live. Hello, everyone. I'll be completely honest. I just finished teaching. It's been a wonderful, crazy past few days. New year, right? But welcome. My name is Stacy. This is my YouTube channel, broadcasting to Facebook as well. And I know a lot of you guys have been saying how excited you are for this interview with the amazing, incredible group fitness and business just leader in the industry, Shannon Fable. I am so excited to speak with her about the concept and word of and. In the new year, I think it's amazing timing to speak with her when it comes to the fitness industry and just in general, how important this concept is and how that word came to her this year and what it means for us as fitness professionals and beyond in our lives in 2021. So, quick intro of Shannon Fable. If you haven't met her yet, she's been on my channel before, but you'll have to. We'll talk about where you can reach her after this, but you have to get to know Shannon. She is an experienced visionary, as I mentioned, in business development, a consultant with a passion for strategic innovation, and is sought after as a speaker, an author, a leader, and she's a presenter. Her something that really how I met Shannon Fable was through her involvement in building and growing Group X Pro, which is a huge tech tool that our team uses every single day for keeping track of our subs and communication. So as you can tell, she's this business leader, she's this tech leader. She knows so much about the fitness industry. And another quick little tidbit about her is that she was the 2006 and the 2013, she's the IDEA and ACE Instructor of the Year. And I can go on all day, but that's your brief introduction of Shannon Fable. Let's talk about our topic today again, how to maximize and motivate or increase your reach and motivation using the concept of and in 2021 and beyond. So as we titled this, and is the answer. And my first question for Shannon, now I've gotten it all out there, is how did the word and come to you this year, and why do you think it approached you?
Yeah, so first I want to say thank you. Thank you for having me back and talking about this really important conversation. I mean, I always hate to say the bright spots of COVID, but one of the bright spots for me in COVID has been getting to know you and work more closer with you. And what I posted this on my personal pages on New Year's Eve, and I'd been really thinking about it for a while. I shouldn't say I don't believe in New Year's resolutions. I do the same thing that everyone else does. Like, I'm going to stop biting my nails. I'm going to stop doing this. I'm truly going to be present. Like, I go through all the things. But for the last probably, I'd say 5 years, instead of really focusing on like a vision board and having goals and setting these big New Year's resolutions, I would choose a word. And I've always done a post about them. I've had the year of yes, I've had the year of no, I've had the year of enough. And like I said in my personal message, which I hope you guys will all go back and find and listen to, because I put a lot of thought into it, because it was the first time that the word wasn't just heavy on my heart or calling me personally, but it was like in blaring neon signs. So let me go back. Every year the word just kind of comes to me. It's either like in December or sometimes in January, and it becomes this guiding light for my life. So like the year of no was, I had taken on so many things. And I realized in that process of taking on so many things that I wasn't doing really anything well. And I needed to say no to make room for yes. So then I swung the pendulum all the way to the other side. And it was more from a mom standpoint, where my daughter looked at me, I think it was like over Thanksgiving break. And she's like, why do you always say no? And I'm like,
ooh, you got caught.
I got caught. And it truly was about family and showing up and saying yes to whatever she wanted to do, because she was at such a magical age. And it was really a funny year because it was personal and it was professional, but it was more on the personal side. And she remembered that word. And I want to say she was like 5 or 6, but she was always like, wait, I thought this was your year of yes. You're supposed to say yes. So that was really funny. And then I had the year of enough, where I really had to go deep and realize that I am enough, and what I was doing was enough, and that I didn't have anything I needed to prove. So that's a little back history, but usually it's something very personal that is directing what I'm choosing to do or not do the next year with my professional or personal development. This year it was different. It was kind of all of the above. And I knew it was a word that I needed to get out because I think, like you titled this, I think and is the answer with what we've been through. So I got asked to write a lot this year, speak a lot this year, and it was different. It wasn't about management. It wasn't about leadership. It wasn't about exercise programming. It wasn't even necessarily about building businesses. It was more of a, oh crap, what do we do in general? And as I went back and I looked at everything that I had written and everything I'd said and all the thoughts that maybe I had that I kept to myself, I found the word and over and over. And it really, honestly, there was something I was writing last week about the future of fitness, which I get really nervous about writing things like that. But I had probably bolded and capitalized the word and 5 times in this one article. And I was like, what is this saying to me? So I sat down and it took me a while because I'm like, I've been saying this, but I've been saying it subtly. And I feel like it's time to say it really loud that we have got to get out of our corners. We've got to stop seeing everything in black and white. And again, I'm going to say this came to me from, a lot from professional and helping people with their businesses this year, but it also personally, politically, what was happening with health and the environment. And I'm a sociologist by trade, and so is my husband. So we had a lot of conversations last year about how, not that we can solve the problems of the world with the world but people not having the toolbox to see the and is what splits everyone on these tough conversations. And they're really not black and white, right? And I'm going to go there. Like, if you think about, are you for abortion or against abortion? It sounds like a really black and white issue. But if you really get to the meat of it, to understand either side of it, you have to go in the middle and talk about the and, or the, I call it the fuzzy middle. Or if it's, are you a Democrat or a Republican? Well, I'm not a single issue voter. I'm somewhere in the middle, and it's, and I like this and I like that. I want to choose between vanilla and chocolate ice cream. No, like, I want them both. And, and it's just, it was interesting to me that in this year of, and I know I'm going on and on, but I think in this world of just profound division and this world of profound change and disruption, the common denominator, the people that I saw either making it through or finding their way believed in the and. They did not see bifurcated options. And so I knew for me personally, I needed to continue to embrace the and to make sense of some really complicated relationships and opportunities in my life. I needed to have the and to make me feel better about the state of the world in a lot of ways. And with the work that I do, this is the answer for fitness. If I see one more divisive article that's like, I don't believe in this because that's not true, I really, really, really implore people next year, like, not even ask, I implore you to take a look at everything, whether it's an opinion piece, a research piece from a person that you like, that you don't like, that you believe in, that you don't believe in. I don't care. Look at it and say, and what can I learn from this? Curiosity. I just think this industry more than anything needs curiosity next year, because I've seen so many people just put their head in the sand this year still and say, that's not true. That's not true. That's not going to happen. No, in-person's going to come back. It's going to be like it was, and just keep moving the timeline. And I get so frustrated because I'm like, the longer we do not embrace the and, the more people are going to be extinct, the less options there are going to be for fitness, or the less options for us to be a part of that answer. So I know I just went on for like 7 minutes, but there you go. No. And it was just this word that I'm like, it's the only thing that I can put my finger on that gives me hope and leads me to the answer. So that's where it came from. And this is my year of and it's not just my word. Now I want it to be everyone's word.
Everyone's. And you explained it so well in so many different ways, because I see it as, like you said, hope, but also I start to get this feeling of relief when I say the word and. Like, there have been moments where I've told Shannon things that I'm like, I can't do this because of this. And she goes, yes, that concept, that thought, that reality is true. And so is this. And having that relief, because I know we're on the same page in that, and hopefully if you're watching this, you're on the same page, or you get to that same page of normal. It's not like what business as usual. I've heard that term a few times, and I'm like, that is not going to happen, and you shouldn't want for it to happen. No. So let's get excited about the change, the shift, the difference this year, no matter what you're doing. So it's a form of relief for me.
It is a form of relief for me. And I want to go back to what you just said. And you'll notice this is so funny because this is what I'm hoping happens this year. And I'm starting to see it with my friends. Is every time you go to say a word, you pause and you go, and you make it really big. So let's just all commit to doing that. When you said like this whole concept of normal, and I hate to relate this to 9/11, and I know some people have, but it's like air travel fundamentally changed after 9/11. And I can hate that it has, but it has, and I can't continue now, so many years later, to complain about the fact that I take off my shoes. Like that crap drives me crazy. I'm like, are you really still complaining about taking off your shoes? I don't like it either. And I understand why they made us happen. And I can understand why maybe we don't need to do it anymore, but it might be complicated to unwind that piece. So it's, and like I said, my husband and I have had so many conversations about it in the last 6 months. It's one of the only times we've talked about the fact that we're both sociology majors and did a lot of work in this area. But I think it's what drew us both to sociology and what has made us come out on the other side of COVID still together and intact is that there's just like, I can hate the fact that I haven't gotten on a plane in 10 months and understand why I haven't. I can hate the fact that school was disrupted. I can hate the fact that my kid was at home and understand why many places felt like they needed to do it. I can hate that in-person has been gone for so many people for so long. And I can embrace that this is a great opportunity for us to figure out something else. And I know that change is scary. So I don't want to, what I really wanted to say, to what you said is not everyone's going to embrace change. And that's okay too. That's okay. If that's scary for you, I think the and can make it less scary because it's not really about change. It's like you can have what you did before. You can still love teaching in person to 50, 60, 70, 80 people. You can still love giving hands-on corrections. You can still love your gym with all that you are. And you can think about new ways to reach people because that's not really an option right now. Those two things don't have to exist in separate universes. And like you said, I think that's where the relief comes is when you go, okay, I can mourn that and I can be super sad that I'm not doing it anymore. And I can see why it needs to happen. So again, I think we could probably talk about it for 2 hours, but I love that you use that word relief. It gives me a lot of relief. Anytime I find myself getting really frustrated, I try to find the and I feel like it's what got me through 2020. I think that's why it came back to me. And I know that more people need to hear it in 2021.
Absolutely. And you kind of alluded to the fitness industry in that response too, but take it a little further, I guess, in what you believe the word and will play a part in for fitness professionals, facilities, studios, clubs. And I hate to list them out as separate things because the concept is to bring us all together. But how do you believe in that this year and beyond?
Sure. Well, let's start with that. Like we all list them separately, but the answer is that they all can be strung together by the word and. One of them is not better than the other, right? And it's so interesting. And I know I say that a lot, but it really is. I like to try to be curious. It's really interesting to me that there were two things that people were thinking of as disruptors before COVID and like, did we forget this whole conversation we were having before March of last year? One, we were all terrified of studios if we were in a big box. Two, we were worried about digital disruption. I don't know that we'd really put our finger on what digital disruption was because we couldn't see people buying a Peloton. We weren't forced to try it. We weren't forced to try on other things for size, right? Again, we all just were in our separate corners. And we were trying to figure out what the other group was doing and trying to replicate it inside of where we were. And I tell this story a lot. I worked for a health club that shall remain nameless, that when we opened, they were so concerned about the boutique explosion that instead of just accepting the fact that the boutique may be a solution for one person and you might lose them, that's okay. That is an option and it's fine. And they also could, like me, I'm a super user. Well, not anymore. We'll come back to that. But a lot of us were gym goers, traditional gym goers, and had 2 or 3 boutique memberships. But what I found was this health club that I was working for, they did not want to see those two. It was bifurcated. You either work out with us or you work out with them. And I want to try to get those people to be in here. So literally spend hundreds of thousands of dollars figuring out how to take the most popular yoga boutique in town and put it inside of our gym. Same teachers, same HVAC, same everything. And not that it wasn't successful, but it didn't do what they wanted it to do, which is put that out of business and bring all this extra revenue over here. Anyway, I digress. We list them all out when we need to realize that a general purpose health club is good for some people. A convenience key fob club with not many fitness professionals inside is good for some people. The great outdoors is good for some people. And if we could figure out as an industry how to allow them to have access to all of those things and put it together in a way that makes sense for them versus us being the person that tells them how to put it together and trying to be all things for them, we'd get a lot further down the road. Because I hope that, and I know this isn't true, but I hope that everyone in the industry is in it because they truly want to help people find joy in movement and be healthy and well. And if you really hang your hat on that statement and it's not just lip service, then you would not give one rat's you know what about where they got it done. You'd figure out how to help them and be their Sherpa, but you wouldn't feel like, oh my gosh, well, if you go take yoga over there, if you do Peloton app and then you run outside some days, we wouldn't still be trying to convince people to be in the gym 5 days a week. Right? And I get it. That's a whole new business model for people. And that's the problem. And that's why I talk about innovation, not pivoting. Innovation that needs to happen in 2021 is the it's knowing that the individual is at the center of the ecosystem and they're going to put all the spokes on the wheel together in a way that makes sense for them. You can choose to be one of those spokes on the wheel and trust that you'll still get your piece of the pie. And you could be the piece that says, okay, thank you for using us. Now let us help you figure out how to pull all the other pieces together. Does that make sense? And neither, again, this is an and. That's why I like put the word back in my mouth. Or neither one of those choices is wrong for a business. You can do either one. What I want to stop happening next year is for the gym to say, you've got to be at our place 5 days a week. Or the studio saying, no, just come to us. You don't need anything else. Or the app saying, we've got you covered from start to finish. Or the personal trainer saying the same thing, right? No, you don't. I need it all. I need the boutique experience. I need 17 apps on my phone. I need outside. I need days I don't do anything. I need a nutrition coach. Like it needs to be patient-centered, if that makes sense. And that gives you a lot of room for interpretation, a lot of coloring outside the lines, but it requires innovation, not just, I call it, not just, it scares me so much, but I feel like a lot of folks, individuals and organizations are just rearranging the chairs on the deck of the Titanic.
I love that analogy. Yeah.
It's like we are still headed for an iceberg. There are still lots of people that are not well and do not move and do not exercise. And the answer isn't yelling at politicians and saying we're essential. People need exercise. We're important. Your gym's not important. What happens inside the gym is important, but it can happen in lots of different places. So it's just a narrative that needs to change. So I'll stop and let you ask another question because I went way off on a tangent there.
No, it's so perfect because it really is what I've discovered this year and why I believe in and so much. And like you had to correct yourself a second ago, or we're still kind of, there's going to be times where that is going to happen, but it's having that continuous and that accountability of yourself to catch yourself. And
yeah, for sure.
And I have to say that this year, a lesson for me was putting myself in the participant's shoes and really understanding what brought them to our club or even our class or our online classes and I've asked so many more questions this year than I've ever asked of my participants and our members that I've learned so much and I wish I had done it sooner, but that's the way it is. And I didn't.
Yeah. And you weren't required to. Because you were driven by a different metric. And we've talked about that a lot, right? Like that's part of what I mean by rearranging the chairs on the deck of the Titanic. Like we have to change it all. We have to start thinking about, because you're a group fitness manager with a huge group fitness program and your job was to stuff people in those classes and get a lower cost per head so that people weren't on the machines. That's our job. And to make it sticky, make them want to come every day, right? Like we weren't given permission to measure success by whether or not, something as simple as, is this person moving more now that she comes to our gym or now that she takes our classes? And that's very different, right? Because if you would have, we asked members what they wanted, but we framed it around what we were already providing.
Yep.
Right? Or do you want this new toy or that new toy? And all of a sudden we had to ask different questions because we didn't have any money to spend on new toys and we weren't bringing it. I love that this year, like very few people added any new equipment to their gyms or to their arsenal. Yeah. We weren't, I love my friends. I'm an educator at heart and I've worked for tons of different equipment companies, but it was really interesting that we had to like you said, change the questions, change what we were worried about, change what we were doing to become better. It wasn't about adding more tools to our toolbox. It was trying to figure out how to meet people where they were. And that has always been what we've needed to do. But unfortunately, with the metrics that were being measured didn't really celebrate that. It celebrated you following the trends, putting a slam dunk instructor on Monday night at 5:00 in the biggest studio, right? And getting the energy from that. And that was the downfall of why so many of us as instructors felt very lost when COVID happened, because we weren't getting the ego stroke that we were getting paid in ego strokes. We love people telling us that they were having a good time. We don't, to your point, we don't know what other questions to ask. And I hope we have learned more this year. Mm-hmm. And I just got into a back and forth on LinkedIn with someone very high up in this industry. It's why do we keep posting these articles that are saying the gym is dead and this? And I'm like, it doesn't mean that we're blindly following it or believing what people are saying, but it's helping us socialize conversations that we were afraid to have 10 months ago.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. And I don't care if you don't believe it. It's out there and your customers are reading it. Mm-hmm. So even if you don't believe it, they're reading it going, oh, and they're seeing all of the other things they could do. So, just like I said, back to this person, I was like, I don't read it for it to tell me what to do. But just like when I taught tons of group fitness and trained, I still read Shape, Self, Muscle, and Fiction, not because I thought it could tell me how to program or how to teach, but I wanted to know what the people in my classes and those not in my classes were reading and doing. That was the curiosity I was talking about, right? I need to know what they are doing because that's what I'm in competition with. Mm-hmm. I'm in competition from disinformation or misinformation or things that are easier to get access to than me behind a door that it cost $127 to enter.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
So, you can get pissed all you want about how many articles that are out there right now talking about digital is king, gyms are dead, etc. You can get really mad about it and you can try to discount it. Or, and I'm going to use or now because this is a black and white thing. Or you can read it and you can get really curious and say, what can I do? Where do I fit in? How do I meet them where they are, right? Because again, I'm going to go back to it. If you truly are in this because you want to get more people moving, then you will get curious like Stacey's gotten curious and say, what can I do? Not, nope, gym's coming back. I've just pushed the timeline out a little bit further. Now it's going to be July before it's the same. No,
yeah.
When someone has changed their behavior for 15 months, it's never going back to the way it was. You will never get on a plane again without having to go through a metal detector, right? My husband will never be able to accompany me to the gate to wait for me to get on a plane. It's not going back. So you get the idea. Moving on. Sorry, I'm going to get my
full circle. That was perfect. We're back. That's perfect because it's really remembering that it's changed forever. And when it comes to adopting the concept, and that is okay. So when it comes to adopting the concept of and how it will benefit the fitness professionals, the fitness industry, and then how do you feel, you kind of alluded to it, but how do you feel it will really help the perception of our participants, those of us who adopt that and principle?
Yeah. I'll just answer the last question. I think it takes care of the first. Much like I was just talking about, if you finally spoke the client's language and you gave, what's the word I'm looking to, validation to how they're feeling and things they're exploring and things they're trying, instead of trying to convince them that you are the way, they will feel heard. And when people feel heard, they begin to trust you and you might actually get more of what you want. Yeah. And I've talked about that a lot. You've been in a lot of my Schwinn cycling classes over the years. I've since retired, but we talked about coaching a lot. And that there's power in choice and there's power in validation. And you can't tell someone what to do in a class. You can only give them the math equation and let them figure out the variables. And I think fitness professionals and fitness organizations, this industry would do better to know that. And if Lee Jordan's listening, he's the king of health coaching. And this is what health coaching is all about, right? The person that you are talking to has all of the answers inside of them.
Yep.
Your job's not to cheerlead it out of them. It's not to motivate them to find it. And maybe motivate them to find it, but it is to teach them how to tap in to what's already inside and bring it out in a way that's unique to them. And every single person needs something totally different. We need to stop telling people things like, well, you have to cross train and you have to do HIIT 2 times a week and then you do strength training 2 times a week. And I get that that's the answer. I get that that's the answer, but we have missed the fundamental issue, which is you just actually need to not convince people. You need to find what allows someone to find joy in movement and not see it as a chore.
Yep.
And that may not be HIIT for someone. That may not be turning up resistance on the bike in a cycling class or standing up. It may not be jumping. It may not be doing a push-up on your toes. And it may not be you even telling them, I know you can do more than you're doing right now. Like everyone needs something different. So I think this and mentality is really realizing that the answer to fitness is a bunch of run-on sentences with commas and ellipses. Like there's no grammar in it at all. And the minute that you kind of put constraints around the concept, you are eliminating folks. And we've done that for too long, right? Like you've got to get into the gym, make your way to the studio, find the class on the schedule that works for you, kind of know the lingo, find a spot in the back, follow me. And every time I say, do it harder, go bigger, go longer, just go along with it.
Yep.
So I know this is way more philosophical than you probably wanted to get, but I've been holding these things back for a very long time. And the world is just like split open and people are ready to hear it now because we don't really have a choice, right? We can't just bury our head in the sand and go, well, my class still has 50 people in it. So I hear what you're saying, but I don't really buy into it because everyone's like, oh crap, how do I get them back? You get them back by realizing that they have figured out that they've got the answer.
Yep.
They figured that out. They had to do it. I know that you don't think they will exercise at home long term. I know you don't believe that they will get the same results without you. I know you get that, but that's not your job.
Absolutely. So true.
Yeah. So I hope, I call this, it's Darwinism at its finest. Because for the first time ever, if you don't listen to this message and embrace it and get really curious, you will either no longer have a job or you will have far less people and you will work your way to exiting stage right or stage left. And the people that do embrace, I'm so excited about the potential because if you get this, we are going to have an army of Anders that are truly, truly getting more people moving in a sustainable way. Because it's one thing to get them to move for the first 6 weeks of the year. It's another to get them to move with or without you forever.
Exactly.
And that's what I'm after.
It's so true. And I just am so excited because this is, as you had mentioned, it's something that has been real for so long, but it's an opportunity now that everyone has been in this position, the entire world was in this position. And it's this opportunity to take this time to shout it from the rooftops of the answer and is the answer. So that is, I hope you understand that now. If you don't yet, then finding Shannon Fable, reaching out to Shannon Fable, you can of course go to her website, shannonfable.com. Where else would you like them to reach out to you?
Yeah, you can find me on any of the social outlets, Fable. I'm the only one. I think there's like a weird Facebook one that is not really me, but you'll tell right away that it's not me. So, those are my personal things. And then, as you know, we just today started a private Facebook group for our And Army. And I don't want you to be worried. It's not another group where you're like, oh gosh, I'm going to go there and I'm going to learn about all the things I'm not doing in my business. It truly is a place where we can socialize these ideas. And we're looking for people who are committed to innovation. Right? The word pivot is outlawed. You're not allowed to use it. And it's not about change, but innovation and evolution. You have to be committed to redefining fitness. So this is not a group to come in to just find out the latest and greatest tools or the newest Con Ed course or where do I get my CECs or what certification is better. This is truly about individuals and organizations and leaders and people also adjacent to this industry that want to redefine health and wellness. And by redefining health and wellness, like I'm looking for things like, I think exercise is a bad word, like movement, right? My mom doesn't like to exercise, but I still need her to move. I need to figure out how to increase access to health and wellness, whatever that means to you, whether that's diversity, inclusion, or it's a price thing, or it's physical location access. So that's what I mean by redefining fitness. And third, we're looking for people that are into collaboration. I think this is the year of community more than ever, and not the community that we keep debating in fitness about, in person is the only way to have community. You can't do it online. That's not the community I'm talking about. I'm talking about what we all used to do where we would say it takes a village. Like it literally takes a village. We can't do any of this by ourselves because it's not going to work. So that's like the threshold for getting in the group. Nothing necessarily is expected once you're in the group. My job, much like what I do on the ACE Group Fit page, where that truly is about group fitness instructors, either getting started, growing, etc. Not just practical, tactical. We dive into the philosophical as well, but it's more about the profession of group fitness. This is about the business of health and wellness and how we can get more people moving through innovative business and innovative strategy. So once you get in there, I'm committed to posting 5 days a week, unless there's a national emergency, and just allowing conversation to happen. I do want to be able to spotlight people that are doing big things. So I don't want it to become another one of those where we're all posting about this group and that group that we're in and come join and pay me this and I'll do that. But I do want us to be telling people what we're doing, not only for our own benefit inside the group, but also to go out and spread it. But the big thing I'm going to want and I'm going to hope for is that people are committed to the mindset, that you're thinking about it every single day. That's what I'm hoping from the group, that you will use the word. I've started seeing my friends use the word, whether they're speaking or writing, and it's really funny to watch. And then you see that little logo up there. Thanks, Stace.
Mm-hmm.
I want everyone to use it. I'm not committed to getting a tattoo of it quite yet, but maybe, because I want people to see it as like our sign. And if someone uses it in a post or puts it on their profile or whatever, like uses it in a presentation, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's part of our army. Yes. Then I know you believe what we believe, because sometimes it's hard to tell. And I think next year we're all going to need a bunch of people that are thinking the way we can to, anytime we start to get worried, concerned, nervous, because this isn't going away tomorrow. I mean, did you guys notice New Year's 2021 looked a lot like 2020? So we're still going to be battling this for some time. I think we're going to need some reinforcements now that we've all taken a deep breath and turned the page. So I'm hoping people will use that. But we hope that you will find the group and ask to be a member of it and invite other people to it. I think if you just search, and I know that sounds really weird, but that's the name of the group. I think you can find it. And the URL, I believe, I just changed it this morning because I wanted it to be easier to find. What is it?
I'll make sure I'll post it too.
Yeah, post it in the link.
In the comments. Yeah.
Or post it in the comments. Yeah. Oh gosh, I can't find it right now, but I think it is the Army of And.
Ooh, yeah.
Or the And Army, something like that. Anyway, it's a little bit easier to find when you look in there. So there you go.
Love it. Use the logo. Identify if you're able to adopt those 3 things to be a part of the group. And we are so excited to have you if that is what speaks to you this year and beyond. And again, it's going to be a great way to keep this mindset going because there's going to be a lot of people who don't quite understand, like you've already mentioned. And how can we remember and remind each other that this is the answer?
Yeah. Army of Anders, that's what it is. And I can't wait. The Army of Anders. I want you guys to just, and I want us to give each other permission to speak up. I feel like I've really found my voice in the last few weeks of, I'm not meaning to be antagonistic, but I'm going to call the old guard out on the narrow mindset, and not looking at the abundance and the opportunity of what's in front of us, because there are too many people that need us. So I'm excited about the Army of And I welcome you to it. And Stacey, thank you, of course, for all you've done for me personally and professionally this last year and with this army of and. Very excited about what we're going to do together this next year.
Me too. I cannot wait. We hope to see you guys in the group. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed this content, make sure you like and subscribe to this channel. And we will see you again, I'm sure, Shannon. But thank you again for your time.
You bet.
Steal that logo, guys. We'll see you guys later. Have a great day.
Yeah.